Hello everyone, I'm Neverdot. Welcome to my channel. This is episode 3 of Learn to Draw Like Neverdot. Today, we're going to be exploring the interesting effect that I sometimes do where I have dark backgrounds and then I've got the subject lit from both sides and it looks really cool. Let's look at that. Now today we're going to be taking you through my drawing recently on TikTok of the llama with baby Thulu on the back. Obviously this is going to be a very ominous, scary scene, cast in darkness, so I'm going to want it sort of lit up. And now an easy way that I like to do it is to start off, basically get your base drawing done. Just don't do any shading, leave that off. Usually I would have a single shading layer, but in this case, I'm not going to do that. We're going to go more complicated, and it's actually going to be a lot easier if we go more complicated. You follow me? Don't. Now to start with, we're actually going to create a group. The group is going to be the lighting layer because we need to have a bunch of layers because we've got the left side, the right side, and we might have other light sources poking around, and I kind of don't want them all mushed together on one layer. So we're going to keep them as separate layers. You can just name them appropriately, like flashlight glow or explosion glow or like weird fairy glow, and whatever you want, but just keep track of them. But the very first layer is going to be the environmental darkness layer. So create that. That's your very first one in the group. Set the group to be hard lighting, as I've talked to you before. Limit its alpha channel to just the stuff. Make sure it's in a group with the drawing itself so that it's only hitting the drawing. The background we can take care of separately. We don't want to be mixing these two up. So if you want to darken the background, you have to take care of that on your own. You can follow the same technique as this or just draw the background dark in the first place. So now the environmental shading will just be like a dark blue. Typically darkness is not black, it's like a blue. So give it a dark blue and you'll see here, bam. Now it's a little bit greeny because we're in the Thulu world. So I'm giving it a bit of more of a cyan here. But you would typically go with a darker blue. So that gives us our sort of our lights off look. So if there was no light sources, that's what you've got. Now we've got to start to introduce a light source. Now in this drawing we've got a glowy tentacle popping out of a cupcake. Very ominous, but you do need your light source. So this is our light source for the scene. I'm just using the airbrush to sort of spray on the color, and this is like a normal layer in the group. No special blending modes for this, just spray on a sort of a light color. For me, I like the bright intensity colors because usually I'm just trying to make a dramatic effect with these colors, but if you want to go more realistic, pick a more toned down color, but still something that brings out the lightness of it all. So this one I'm just going to freely spray around the area that it would hit. So the sides of the character, sort of all the edges facing the light source would start to get that light effect. And you can already see that it's a cool effect, and it already brings out more realism than you initially had in your flat cartoony looking drawing. You're starting to get a cool, I don't know, movie poster look. So it gives you a quick, nice effect, and you can actually call this done if you wanted to, really. But it's always more interesting to have more than one light source. So let's jam on the same thing, but on the other side. So make another layer, pick a different color, and let's just do the same thing. Pretend there's a light source on the other side. I'll have to come up with that later. And then just start coloring in with the airbrush on the other side. That'll help the object pop out of the background better, and it just looks way more interesting to have the creature or whatever it is sort of bookended with light sources on both sides, and you can even go with like 3 light sources or whatever you want, and it's pretty cool. Now let's say you have shadows in these shadows. How do you do that? So here we're going to do, let's say we have Thulu. He's complicated. He's got some tentacles over his chest. So we're going to just spray on the light source freely, whatever. Go over everything. Don't worry about it. Don't try to paint the shadows. Just do the whole thing as if Thulu's head was gone. Don't think about his head being gone, but just draw it as if it were gone. And now we're going to just erase where the shadows are. Now remember, our base color is the lights out color. It's already darkness. We don't need to paint any shadows. Everything is already in complete shadow. Everything we draw is now light. So we're kind of reverse drawing here. So by erasing, we're creating the shadows. So you can see there, it already gives you the perfectly dark look of the scene. So that's how I do my basic multicolored, multi-light sourced shading when I have dark scenes and I want to make something dramatic looking. So the key points are: group your character as always, because anytime you have to do shading, you're going to want to use the alpha inheritance mode on the shading layer to make sure it doesn't extend beyond the limits of your character. But make sure your shading layer is actually a group. Put your environmental shading as the bottom color, make it a dark blue or something like that, and then a very dark blue. And then all the other colors on top are the light sources, and they're all just normal modes, normal blending mode. It's the group that you set to the hard light blending mode. And then you've got this cool effect, and if you make a mistake, you can just erase it because you've kept your colors separate, right? You didn't try to draw it all on the same layer. You can actually have the two different colors if you have them overlapping in your group. Blend in different blending modes if you want to have them interact a bit better. Feel free to explore those, like the screen layer, the overlay. Those can give you some neat effects, and because it all plays together when it finally blends at the end state. But remember, emptiness is the darkest shade, so if you erase, you're giving yourself original shadow intensity. You do not need to do additional shadowing in the group. So thank you guys for watching this episode. I entreat you to watch the related TikTok, linked here, I guess, probably, or just check out my TikTok channel. It's got lots of cool drawings, and every day, except for Sunday, there is something new. So thank you guys so much for watching. See you guys next time.